the facts.
Okay.
So I was in Deadpool Wolverine. I had 2 scenes in it.
No!
And then Ryan Reynolds fired me.
Seriously?
Ryan Reynolds has a new target, and it's none other than the actress behind She-Hulk. But why? Well, it all started when a rather questionable PR campaign went viral, and it had everyone raising their eyebrows, including Ryan. Now, you know Ryan's not one to hold back, especially when it comes to calling out bad behavior or, better yet, bad marketing. So what exactly did he say? And is this about to spark a Hollywood feud? The real origin of the She-Hulk rumor. Let's be real, a face-off between She-Hulk and Deadpool sounds like comic book gold, right? Fans would love the witty banter and superhero chaos. But somehow this imaginary clash found its way into the real world in the most bizarre way. Rumors started flooding the internet, claiming that She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany was taking legal action against Disney and Deadpool icon Ryan Reynolds. The story took off, resulting in heated online debates, even though it was as fake as they come. While most news outlets ignored it, seeing right through the baseless gossip, the rumor still spread like wildfire, shaping a strange online narrative that just wouldn't die. People clung to the idea, spinning tales of feuds over Ryan Reynolds and Tatiana Maslany and turning it into a bizarre reality show of its own. So what was really going on? Here's the breakdown. The supposed beef between Maslany, Disney, and Reynolds was completely fabricated, lacking even a hint of truth. In fact, the source behind it all turned out to be laughably flimsy. A digital whisper turned into a booming headline. Maslany herself has since stepped in, calling out the absurdity of it all. Despite her best efforts to debunk the myth, some fans just couldn't let it go, feeding into the dangers of believing everything they see online. So, the rumor mill started churning right after Deadpool and Wolverine took theaters by storm, blowing up box office expectations. As the story goes, Tatiana Maslany's She-Hulk was supposedly meant to appear in the film until allegedly she was cut. According to the wild rumors, the cut wasn't just an artistic choice. Word on the internet claimed that Ryan Reynolds, not only the film's lead, but also its co-writer and producer, had vetoed her scene. Why? It was suggested that Reynolds didn't want She-Hulk's role because Disney was supposedly pushing for a feminist message in Deadpool and Wolverine, and Reynolds wasn't on board. The notion that Reynolds, known for being a supportive husband to Blake Lively and a dad to 3 daughters, would push back against a feminist angle just didn't match his public persona. That alone raised eyebrows and set off red flags, making the rumor sound more like a shaky conspiracy than a fact. Now, it's easy to see why fans might think She-Hulk would fit in naturally with Deadpool's zany world. Both characters famously break the fourth wall, making them a perfect match for some meta-sarcastic mayhem. But the thing is that at no point was She-Hulk's cameo even hinted at during production. And with the film packed with surprise Marvel cameos, it didn't make sense for She-Hulk to be singled out for the chopping block. If Marvel and Reynolds kept characters like Jennifer Garner's Elektra, Wesley Snipes' Blade, and Chris Evans as the Human Torch, why would they suddenly draw the line at She-Hulk? Yet this fantastical backstory gained traction. In reality, though, the entire narrative was cooked up from nothing, showing just how easily people can latch onto a story, no matter how outlandish it might seem. Let's talk about the so-called She-Hulk ban, and how strange this rumor really is. If you're going to believe that She-Hulk was sidelined due to fan disapproval, consider this. Deadpool and Wolverine actually gives a big role to Jennifer Garner's Elektra, a character from a film widely known as one of the worst superhero movies ever. If Elektra could get a second chance, why wouldn't She-Hulk be granted the same? Dig a little deeper and the story starts to unravel, tripping over its own contradictions. And then there's the glaring issue no one can ignore, the lawsuit. For a legal case of this magnitude, you'd expect headlines everywhere, but not a single credible source has reported on it. Compare it to Scarlett Johansson's high-profile lawsuit against Disney when Black Widow hit Disney+. That story dominated the news cycle for weeks, with every detail exposed. If Maslany really were suing Disney, there's no way it could stay hidden. Yet somehow this rumor slipped past every major outlet while blowing up online. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's nothing more than internet fiction disguised as insider drama. The strange part is how far this rumor has spread. Just type She-Hulk and Deadpool into YouTube and you'll find hundreds of videos painting Maslany as furious with Reynolds and Disney. So where did this bizarre narrative even start? You might think there's some juicy origin, but the truth is far more laughable than you'd expect. It's a prime example of how wild speculation can twist into a massive story with nothing behind it but clicks and thumbnails. What's more, the lawsuit between She-Hulk and Deadpool started as a joke in a Lego Marvel special on Disney+. That's right, the scoop that spiraled into a full-blown internet rumor came from a lighthearted gag meant for young audiences. In the animated special, Lego Marvel Avengers Mission Demolition, released on October 18, 2024, the Lego version of She-Hulk cracks a playful line that sent fans spinning. In the scene, we see D-Man, voiced by Will Friedle, strolling and breaking the fourth wall, only to be interrupted by She-Hulk. She's not pleased with him stepping on her comedic territory and calls him out, insisting, No, I did it first and I sued him for stealing my bit. I sued him right out of this very special.
No. I did it first. And I sued him for stealing my bit. Sued him right out of this very special.
The humor is playful, poking fun at both Deadpool and She-Hulk's shared penchant for breaking the fourth wall. And that's all it was, a harmless tongue-in-cheek moment between animated Legos. Deadpool himself even appears in the end credits, leading to a funny little chase scene with She-Hulk as they trade quips over who truly owns the fourth wall. But somehow this innocent joke got twisted into a rumor that She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany was suing Ryan Reynolds and Disney. With no real story to back it up, fans took the Lego gag and ran wild, churning out videos, thumbnails, and headlines that turned into a full-blown urban legend. So yeah, you can say that it's a calculated campaign against She-Hulk star Tatiana Maslany that thrives on misinformation. Critics of She-Hulk, attorney-at-law who claimed the series was pushing an agenda, are now ironically pushing an agenda of their own. They've spun a wild tale that Maslany is bitter and envious over the success of Deadpool and Wolverine, a rumor built on nothing but a misinterpreted line in a children's Lego special. The aim? To stir up the Deadpool fanbase, paint Maslany as jealous, and weaponize a made-up feud. Despite zero evidence to back up this story, it's now a viral sensation on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. The story has taken on a life of its own, muddying the truth and framing Maslany as the villain in a fake drama. By making her the target of public backlash, they're attempting to rally enough hate to push her out of the MCU entirely. The message is clear. If they don't like She-Hulk, no one else should be allowed to either. The really troubling part is that this tactic of using fictional drama to attack an actress is a form of harassment disguised as news. And all because they didn't get the joke. A joke meant for kids that's now twisted into a weapon in a culture war. In a world where fiction blends with reality, the line between playful jest and malicious rumor has blurred, making Tatiana Maslany a target of twisted narratives. But if they thought she'd bow down quietly, they underestimated her. Tatiana Maslany fights back with humor. Tatiana Maslany has had enough, and she's handling it with a sharp sense of humor that only She-Hulk herself could pull off. In a recent episode of Comedy Bang Bang, Maslany seized the chance to poke fun at the absurd feud between her and Deadpool's Ryan Reynolds. When asked if she had any Marvel Studios gossip, she launched into a hilarious rant, laying out a mock version of events where she was fired from Deadpool and Wolverine for having a so-called feminist agenda. It was pure satire, but her words struck right at the heart of the ridiculous criticisms she's faced. With a deadpan delivery, Maslany joked, "I was in Deadpool and Wolverine, I had 2 scenes in it, and then Ryan Reynolds fired me from the show because he said, I don't like these scenes. Now I'm suing Disney." She humorously continued about how she always talks about her hate for Wolverine and Deadpool. "I talk about it all the time. I also wish I'd just sit down and stop pushing my feminist agenda and just realize that Deadpool and Wolverine made a lot of money and She-Hulk only made $3, she said. Her sarcasm was spot on, brilliantly mocking the ridiculous narrative that has been spun around her since She-Hulk, Attorney at Law aired. Despite She-Hulk being a lighthearted comedic show, Maslany has been on the receiving end of vitriol from some fans who accuse her of pushing a woke agenda. She summed it up with, "That's why they were getting rid of me, because I had this woke agenda and I really wanted to bring it into the movie." It's a clever and cutting response to the toxic side of fandom, where even enjoying a superhero sitcom can make you a target of baseless attacks. Maslany's approach shows that she's fully aware of the ridiculousness of it all, and she's not afraid to laugh about it. She sees the irony and calls it out, reminding everyone that sometimes a show is just a show, and that humor and a little self-awareness can be the best armor against internet trolls. Let's reinforce. Tatiana Maslany's comments were nothing more than a joke, poking fun at the wild rumors and relentless trolling she's endured since She-Hulk, Attorney at Law premiered. She's using humor to handle the noise, and she nails it with a laugh-out-loud take that shows she's in on the absurdity of it all. But as soon as she lightheartedly mocked these baseless rumors, the same fans who fueled them decided to cry foul. Instead of admitting the rumor was just that, a joke taken way too far, they doubled down, claiming she was mocking them personally. It's the classic no-win trap. If Maslany stayed silent, she'd be forced to live with these outrageous stories. When she speaks up, she's accused of attacking the fans. It's a frustrating cycle, and ironically, it only highlights the very themes She-Hulk, Attorney at Law satirized. In the show, the so-called villains weren't power-hungry masterminds like Hydra or cosmic threats like Thanos. They were petty, insecure trolls who hated the idea of a woman simply owning her space. And here we are, watching that same story play out in real life as Maslany faces the same criticism her character did simply for existing and enjoying her role. What's even more telling is how often those same YouTube channels and outrage merchants return to criticize She-Hulk, railing against its satirical take on online hate culture. But in doing so, they're actually proving the show's point. Every accusation, every hot take, every new claim of victimhood only echoes what She-Hulk was highlighting from the start. That a strong, humorous woman in a traditionally male-dominated space can set off more than just supervillains. It rattles real-life critics who find themselves uncomfortably reflected in the show's mirror. Maslany's humor, her ability to laugh it off, is a breath of fresh air. Instead of letting the negativity get to her, she's taking it all in stride, showing that she's every bit as strong and savvy as the character she plays. In the end, it's her humor and her refusal to be silenced that makes her the real hero here. It feels like She-Hulk, Attorney at Law hit Disney Plus ages ago, yet somehow the show still manages to spark strong reactions. What's truly ironic is that She-Hulk anticipated this backlash and even wove it into its plot, as if predicting exactly how certain viewers would react. But despite the show's self-awareness, some fans still took the bait, adding fuel to the very fire the series playfully addressed. It's kind of incredible, and honestly, a little wild, that the same complaints continue long after the finale aired. Looking forward, it'll be fascinating to see how Marvel Studios plans to use She-Hulk in upcoming projects. She seems like a natural fit for the next Avengers films, and given her unique brand of humor and fourth-wall-breaking charm, she'd bring something fresh to the team dynamic. But the question remains, will Marvel bow to the trolls and quietly move on from She-Hulk, or will they stand by the character and give her more screen time? Only time will tell, but one thing's certain. She-Hulk has made her mark, and it'll be exciting to see what's next for her in the MCU. As the future of She-Hulk hangs in the balance, fans are left wondering if Marvel will lean into her potential or let the noise dictate her fate. She-Hulk's journey isn't just about smashing villains. It's about breaking barriers, both on and off the screen. The double standard with She-Hulk. Even with all the facts on the table, no feud between Tatiana Maslany and Ryan Reynolds, no clash with Disney, and the whole story based on a single joke in a Lego Marvel special, this rumor, against all logic, will probably stick around. It's the power of misinformation in full effect, where gossip is taken as gospel without a second thought. A lot of people read the sensationalized headline, skipped the fact-checking, and ran with it as truth. But here's the real question. Why were so many people so ready to believe it? The issue runs deeper than just a misunderstanding. It's a perfect example of a double standard at play. Female-led projects like She-Hulk seem to attract an extra layer of scrutiny and skepticism, where baseless claims are accepted far more quickly than they would be if the star or story was different. It's a reminder of that lesson we all heard as kids. Don't believe everything you read online. Yet here we are, where half-truths and misquotes circulate with surprising resilience, all because some people are quick to assume the worst. Maybe it's because She-Hulk dared to step outside the typical superhero mold, tackling themes that some fans weren't ready to see. Or perhaps it's a side effect of the internet age, where outrageous headlines and rumor-mongering get more attention than fact. Either way, this incident is a telling example of how fast misinformation can take root, especially when the target is a female-led, boundary-pushing project. And as She-Hulk so perfectly captured in its storyline, it's a challenge that will likely persist. At the end of the day, the hope is that more people take a step back and question what they're reading, digging a little deeper rather than just taking the most sensational story at face value. It all boils down to a frustrating, unfair double standard that women, especially in high-profile roles, face constantly, whether in the MCU or in the broader media landscape. Take She-Hulk, attorney-at-law in Deadpool and Wolverine, for example. Both projects riff on similar humor and break the fourth wall antics, yet She-Hulk caught flack for its irreverent tone while Deadpool is celebrated for the same approach. And the criticism doesn't stop with the show itself. It extends to the stars. Actresses like Tatiana Maslany and Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, are routinely scrutinized for even the smallest moves, often facing online harassment for merely existing in a space some fans don't want them in. If they don't fit the image of nice and pleasant, they're almost immediately targeted by smear campaigns, with rumor mills churning out fabricated stories that spread faster than the truth. What's more troubling is how some fans hide behind the guise of reporting news to push these stories, weaponizing misinformation to harass and silence actors they feel don't belong. It's not about fair criticism, it's about gatekeeping, trying to bully anyone they don't approve of out of their vision of the fandom. Now, with studios reportedly assembling panels of superfans to assess what might trigger backlash, we're venturing into murky territory. Who exactly represents the fans? This term has become ambiguous and at times dangerous. If studios let vocal segments of the fan base dictate what's acceptable, it creates a chilling effect on filmmakers, stifling creative risks and diversity in storytelling. With such panels in place, filmmakers could find themselves confined by an audience subset that may not even represent the true majority. The hope here is that Marvel Studios and other franchises stay true to their vision and don't let the loudest voices control the narrative. Characters like She-Hulk and Deadpool, both hilarious and meta in their own ways, bring something unique to the MCU. Imagine Maslany's She-Hulk and Reynolds' Deadpool engaging in a battle of wits and fourth-wall-breaking quips in Avengers: Secret Wars. It's exactly the kind of playful energy that makes the MCU feel vibrant and dynamic. Ultimately, while some fans continue to gatekeep, most audiences are here for characters who bring fresh perspectives and humor. Here's to hoping Marvel and other studios push forward, creating space for the kind of memorable, boundary-pushing storytelling that people like Maslany and Larson embody so well. So let's set the record straight, once and for all. Tatiana Maslany is not angry at Ryan Reynolds or Deadpool and Wolverine. She's not suing them. There is no lawsuit. It's all completely made up. So if you see these rumors floating around, don't buy into the hype and definitely don't spread it. It's just another internet tall tale that's taken on a life of its own. Let's keep the facts straight and enjoy the MCU for what it is, without the drama. Why do you think some fans are so quick to believe and spread rumors even when the truth is readily available? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more.